Folks, Black Star Network is here.
Hold no punches!
I'm real revolutionary right now.
Support this man, Black Media. He makes sure that our stories are told.
I Thank you for being the voice of Black America, Roland.
Stay black. I love y'all.
All momentum we have now, we have to keep this going.
The video looks phenomenal.
See, there's a difference between Black Star Network and Black-owned media and something like CNN.
You can't be Black-owned media and be scared.
It's time to be smart.
Bring your eyeballs home.
You dig? Today is Friday, January 5th, 2024. Coming up on Roland Martin Unfiltered, streaming live on the Black Star Network. The state-run court in Mississippi's majority black state capital is becoming a reality after attempts for a permanent injunction failed. Jackson's City Council President and the Impact Policy Counsel for the Mississippi Center for Justice will join us to discuss what it means for the city. He did his best to protect the Capitol on January 6th. Now he's running for Maryland's 3rd Congressional District. Former Capitol Police Officer Harry Dunn will be here to explain why he is running for Congress. Donald Trump will get his day before the Supreme Court. The court has announced they are going to hear the ruling by Colorado Supreme Court to remove him from the ballot for violating Section 3 of the 14th Amendment. Last night, CNN at a town hall with Republican presidential candidate Nikky Haley in Iowa. My goodness. She sounded even more stupid talking about slavery and also the Confederate flag coming down in that state. We'll break it down for you. December's jobs report was better than expected. There you go, the black unemployment rate and the black men's unemployment rate taking a tumble. Oh, yeah, y'all, actually happened. Plus, I don't like mess. But when you lie on me, then I gotta go ahead and correct you. So I got a few words for Umar Johnson for lying on Joe Budden's podcast when he came on my TV One show 6 years ago. You still lying after 6 years? Yeah, I'ma bring the funk. And it's time to bring the funk on Roland Martin Unfiltered on the Black Star Network. Let's go.
He's got it. Whatever the miss, he's on it. Whatever it is, he's got the scoop, the fact, the find. And when it breaks, he's right on time and it's rolling. Best believe he's knowing. Putting it down from sports to news to politics. With entertainment just for kicks, he's rolling. It's on go, roll, roll, y'all. It's Roland Martin, yeah. Rolling with Roland now. He's funk, he's fresh, he's real, the best, you know he's Roland Martin now.
The Mississippi Capitol Complex Improvement District Court is now a reality. The NAACP sued on behalf of several Jackson, Mississippi residents asking for an injunction to stop the court appointments and creation of the court. But U.S. District Judge Henry Wingate denied that. On January 1 was the start date. It was delayed by temporary administrative stay granted by a panel of the U.S. Fifth Circuit Court of Appeals. But on Thursday, the court vacated that stay. House Bill 1020 was signed into law in April of last year to address violent crimes and bolster public safety in the capital city, but not just in the capital city, only in a very small area. Joining me now from Jackson, the City Council President, Aaron Banks, as well as Blake Feldman, the Impact Policy Counsel for the Mississippi Center for Justice. Glad to have both of you here. Well, we've been covering this story, President Banks, and let's just be real clear here. This is not dealing with all of Jackson. He's dealing with a very small portion of Jackson. And really, we showed the map before where most of the city's white residents actually live.
That is correct, Roland. It deals with the area of Jackson almost as if it is creating a city within the city. You're talking about the Fondren, Belhaven areas. You're talking about your downtown area. It does include Jackson State University, the updated map, which is, of course, our renowned HBCU here. But the deal is, when you see the Capitol Police, you see 3 or 4 units pulling over or dealing with one homeless person. And you know, it's a waste of manpower. And so when we talk about, you know, these judges, and when we talk about taking the authority away from the people of Jackson, to be able to elect as circuit court judges, to be able to make sure that we have a voice and who represents us and who deals with our courts and how we deal with our issues. You know, I have big problems because at the end of the day, and even more so now that we're going into our legislative session, you know, we need a partnership with the state at the end of the day. We don't need a taskmaster, you know, we don't need an overseer, but we need partnership. And, you know, hopefully we could find a way to get there this legislative session. But right now, you know, it's I think we all know exactly what it is.
Well, here's the deal here, Blake, and again, we've covered this numerous times. I have yet to be shown any data that explains this. They haven't offered any. This is simply largely white Republicans in Mississippi deciding to do this in the blackest city in the country. It's not based upon data.
Right, it's absolutely not. And that's another thing, too, about allegedly this being a good faith attempt to promote public safety. One of the provisions of House Bill 1020 that was struck down for violating the state constitution was they were going to pack the circuit courts with unelected judges. Circuit courts deal with felony matters. We've heard all legislative session, we've heard all throughout these different legal challenges to this bill and its companion bill that this is all about public safety and there's all this violent crime and homicide and all these things in Jackson. So today, Tate Reeves applauding the Fifth Circuit, saying we're going to make Jackson safe. This is a municipal court. Nobody has alleged that the Jackson Municipal Court has a backlog. Nobody's alleged that because of failures at municipal court or justice court, like very low-level courts, that has anything to do with violent crime. This will do nothing to address violent crime. All that this does is it meets the same goal that other provision did with packing the circuit courts. It is effectively overriding the local control that voters and elected officials in Jackson and Hinds County had over their justice system, and that every other resident and voter of every other city in the state of Mississippi and every other county in the state of Mississippi enjoys. All that it is saying you don't get to control your justice system. Unlike every other municipality in the state, we are going to control it in this little area. Is little, but it has 50% of the white population of Jackson. The city of Jackson, I think in the 2020 census, had a little over 25,000 white people. With the expanded boundaries of the CCID, over 12,600. I mean, we're at 50%. 50% of the white people in Jackson in this tiny area, this city within a city that is going to be run by, not by people appointed by the mayor that they chose, the city councilors that they chose, but by an attorney general who, I think in the past 2 elections, over 83% of the people of Jackson, the voters, voted for her opponent, and a white Supreme Court justice who is elected by people on the coast. It's all about saying Black people cannot be trusted to with local rule, with home rule, with the same autonomy and democratic rights that every other citizen in the state of Mississippi gets to enjoy.
Aaron, the thing here, Republicans love talking about local control, except when they don't control the local government. It amazes me when I hear the constant trashing of Jackson, Mississippi, but Jackson, Mississippi provides the bulk of the money that funds the state. So it's amazing how they don't mind the money from all these Black folks in Jackson, but they sure as hell love trashing the Black folks in Jackson.
Yeah, Roland, we've dealt with that for quite some time, taking away, our ability to govern. At the end of the day, sadly enough, we have to begin to push the narrative. And it takes shows like this to help push the narrative on, the hypocrite, because here's where the state is hypocritical. The problems that have gotten us where we are with our crime. Do we have crime problems? Yes. Do we need help from our state? Yes. But not adequately funding our public schools, not adequately funding programs that deal with mental health, not adequately funding our homeless population, not adequately funding, the things that deal with pursuit or even having an interlocal agreement with our agencies. These are the things that the people in this CCID district are afraid of. And so at the end of the day, while Jackson does have its share of problems, there has to be the level of respect that it shouldn't be, oh, look at them, they can't run a city, we need to come in there and help them do it. And that is the viewpoint from our surrounding cities, from our surrounding counties, and people that represent certain counties in the legislature that sponsored this bill that don't even spend time in Jackson. That when we had Roland 4 weeks without water, didn't come down here and even try to pass out a bottle of water. So at the end of the day, we have these deep-seated issues. And yes, it's been a fight to take over our governance for a while, from the airport takeover, from trying to take over our system. Thank God the federal government has come in and implemented a third-party administrator so that the state wouldn't put us in receivership. But at the end of the day, we have to be serious about making sure that the state is held accountable. And I know that one way we do it at the voting booth, but the other way we do it is that we got to be unfiltered and we got to call it out. And again, we don't need our state to be a taskmaster or an overseer. We need them to be a partner with us. And right now, we in a legislative session. I have talked to some of our delegations, the Black Caucus. Right now, the only fight we have while this is in the courts is to try to make sure we can get some modifications or improvements. And so we got to start talking about these pursuits. We got to start talking about what an interlocal agreement looks like. You have a police force that's right here in the capital city that doesn't even have a system that communicates with the system that the city of Jackson has or Hines County. How do they work together? What is this? This is a city within the city implementation, and we have to continue to call it out, and we have to make sure that we're doing all we can right now during legislative session to make those improvements and modifications.
I'm curious, Blake, are they going to deal with the voting irregularities and the screw up in the ballots in Hines County? It says they want to be in Hines County business.
I tell you, I think everybody was concerned with it. Everybody who was concerned with this. What we're seeing in all of these states, when you talk about conservatives love local control, except for when they're not in control, one of the first thoughts in people's mind was, is this going to be pretext for them to try to take over yet another piece of Jackson and Hines County residents' rights? So it's something that we will be keeping an eye on. I've heard rumors. We haven't seen any bills dropped that would do that, but would it be disgusting and malicious and in bad faith? Absolutely. Would it be surprising? No, it wouldn't. But I think that they will find that people are prepared. People are not going to be caught off guard. And if they think that we resisted last session when House Bill 1020 hit the House floor, we're going to be even more ready this session if other attacks come. And one other thing that I want to say, it was just mentioned the voting booth is one way to affect change and to make our voices heard, but we also have to be unfiltered. Lots of people say go to the polls and go to the streets and go to the courts. I do want to say one of the most concerning things about this CCID court is that because they claim to be concerned with violent crime, but municipal courts don't have jurisdiction over violent crime. They have jurisdiction to sentence people for very low-level offenses, traffic violations, ordinance violations, disorderly conduct, things that in the past in Mississippi and in the present in Mississippi, protesters are arrested for. Also, in this tiny little majority white city within a city that's not really a city at all, it's a fake city.
Gotcha.
The state was created. They can send people arrested for these very minor offenses to prison. I do think that there is an intent to silence people, to enforce respectability politics.
Got it.
In the companion bill, they tried to say that you have to ask for the state's permission to protest. We got an injunction to stop that, but these were two bills that they brought together. They were part and parcel, and they want Black people to stay out of the CCID. They want Black people to be scared of going through the CCID.
Right.
And they want them to be scared of being unfiltered.
Well, and that's also why we also keep saying our folks, was why we got to turn out en masse, because, again, about 38,000 people had turned out. There'd be a new governor in Mississippi, but unfortunately, that was not the case. Gentlemen, I certainly appreciate it. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks so much.
Folks, got to go to a break. We come back. More on Roland Martin Unfiltered, including the Supreme Court taking up the case of Colorado tossing Donald Trump from the ballot. Ooh, oh yeah. Can't wait to get into that. All right, folks, you're watching Roland Martin Unfiltered on the Black Star Network. Don't forget to support us in what we do. Join our Bring the Funk fan club. Your dollars make it possible. Our goal every year, folks, is to raise $1 million from our fans. It's a whole new year. We didn't hit our goal last year. And this is very simple. If 20,000 of our fans, those of you who are watching, those of you who are previous fan club donors, those of you who are listening to us as well, all we need is 20,000 folks, okay, contributing on average $50 each. That comes out to $4.19 a month, 13 cents a day. That $1 million is huge for us to be able to continue the work that we do, not just for this show, folks, which is 2 hours, not just for Friday Muhammad's show, but we've got multiple shows. We do 5 hours of original news every single day right here on Roland Martin Unfiltered, more than any other Black-owned media outlet. Nobody else does what we do every single day. And so your dollars are crucial to us being able to cover the stories that absolutely matter. So send your check and money orders to P.O. Box 57196, Washington, D.C. 20037-0196. Cash App, $RM Unfiltered. PayPal are Martin Unfiltered. Venmo is RM Unfiltered. Zelle, Roland at RolandSMartin.com. Roland at RolandMartinUnfiltered.com. And, of course, be sure to download the Black Star Network app. Apple phone, Android phone, Apple TV, Android TV, Roku, Amazon Fire TV, Xbox One, Samsung Smart TV. We're close, but folks, let's hit 100,000 downloads. And please support us that way. I'll be right back.
I'm Faraji Muhammad, live from LA. And this is The Culture. The Culture is a two-way conversation. You and me. We talk about the stories, politics, the good, the bad, and the downright ugly. So join our community.